What is something illegal you did, but were never caught? Crossed into Canada on a paddle boat. Came back on said paddle boat a few minutes later. I like to imagine a Mountie parted the tree line on his steed at the water's edge and gave you a stern, silent stare until you turned around. It was 5 in the morning. I was drunk in a town I didn't know. I was trying to find my friend's house, but cell phone had died, so I had to memorize the end of my itinerary. No big deal. I find the street, I find the good house and enter it using the back door like I was told to do. Well, guess what? It wasn't the right street. I was seated in a total stranger's kitchen charging my phone while calling my friend that was screaming to me to get pho of the house. Good day. Went to a junior college at one point and found out they didn't have a system to keep track of purchased books. So at the end of the semester, a few friends and I simply walked into the bookstore and grabbed the biggest biology chemistry books we could find, went straight to the book return window and got money back for them. One of my friends in college did that for a while until he got about $300. Then he got caught. He was arrested and charged with theft. Used to work at a restaurant and I stole 8 of each type of dish to have a full set. Not proud of it, but I still use them to this day. PS. One of the managers helped me do it, so that's kinda like not stealing, right? I had a friend who owned a restaurant in New York and she was very friendly with one of her maitre d's. She felt less friendly towards him when she went to a dinner party at his house and all the china, glasses and flatware were from her restaurant. A few years ago I completely totaled my motorcycle on a twisty mountain road. No other parties were involved, only me. Bike was trashed. I was fine. My buddy who I was riding with rode all the way home to grab his truck and pick me up. I just waited on the side of this deserted road for him for about 2 hours. Finally he shows up and we get out of there. I only had limited liability on my insurance policy, not full coverage, and I knew that if I made the claim, they would not cover the cost of my bike, about $10K. So the next day I called them up and gave them some BS about wanting to upgrade my policy to full coverage as I am riding a lot more now. Paid the entire year's premium, waited about 1.5 months and then made the claim. The adjuster came to look at my bike, totaled it on site, cut me a check for almost $11K the next day. The extra $sign was for my damaged gear, which was also covered through my new policy. So that's why insurance is so freaking expensive. In high school when I worked at a fast food place I got pretty good at doing math in my head, and since this was before they all switched to computers that displayed the orders, you just called out the order over the mic and bagged it when ready. Anytime I worked the drive-thru I would either not ring up any item, or only part of their order then pocket the difference. On a good night I could easily bring home a few $100. Since I mainly work nights and weekends, when my manager would question the flow of traffic versus the amount of sales I would brush it off by saying it's mostly high school kids cruising and just buying drinks. There's a castle in my town and it's also a state park, which means it's closed at sunset. Well, a couple times I would bring dates down to the ferry, slip under it and we would hike up the back way and walk around the castle at night. It was all lit up and very romantic. We'd lay on the grass by the stay off the grass sign and make out. Never got caught. I set a field the size of a football field on fire. Very thick, dead brush. Told some neighbors that a black and a white kid with a gas can ran off. Police asked which direction they went. I pointed one way. My friend pointed the other. He told us to get home and never speak of it again. I read that as a black and white kid. Must have been 4th or 5th grade. I was playing with a lighter a buddy had behind some bushes next to the elementary school, just lighting piece of paper or leaves and watching them burn. It didn't look like anything else was lit, so we walked around the school and when we got back the bushes were engulfed in fire and the fire department had to show up. Edit. I also learned that at my retail cashier job I could type in manual coupons. I worked at the customer service desk where coupons were just dumped in a huge paper bag so they weren't audited like the regular register folks. I could type in coupons for the food on my break, or if people were paying cash I could type in a coupon and pocket the extra money. Damn it, Moses, not again. I had a shoplifting phase. Never got caught. Same. I quit when I started having stress dreams about getting caught. Blew up a mailbox with an M80 and dodged 4 cops by foot over a 2-mile chase. Actually, you are very lucky. The post office takes that crap seriously, and while the local cops would have likely slapped you on the wrist, the feds would have sent you to prison. Don't frick with the post office. In high school, a couple of my buddies were drunk and wanted more beer, so they walked to Walmart, each grabbed a 30 rack and then they just walked out. Broke into a warehouse filled with mattresses and bounced around it with my friends for hours, setting up trick jumps and wall runs, etc. It was freaking dope. Was at my parents' seasonal camp for the weekend, but this time I was allowed to bring my best friend. I was probably 15 at the time and it was still early in the season, so not many people were there yet. My parents went out for the day, so we were left at the camp with a campfire and some other stuff to do. We decided to walk around and saw a closed up camp with a couple gas cans in front of it, so we went and took one. Being 15, we decided that lighting a double-sided axe on fire would be fun, and doused the gas all over the axe and lit it. I started swinging it around like a madman and accidentally hit the nozzle of the gas can with the flaming axe. Flames started shooting out of the nozzle and my friend thought it would be a great idea to kick the fricking thing. Like, really? Long story short, the gas can exploded into a huge mushroom cloud and caught this big tree on fire right next to my camp. We started running in and out of the trailer with pots and pans full of water trying to subdue the flames, but to no avail. Luckily, on one of the exit trips with water, I spotted a small fire extinguisher and put out the flames quickly as possible. The tree was now completely white from the powder, so I threw as much water on and around it to hide it, and then kicked dirt over the remaining powder on the ground, all while my buddy was disposing of the melted gas can. We climbed the tree and broke off as many burnt branches as we could and hid them. When my parents came back, they never noticed. Seriously used all of my luck points for the next decade on that stunt. Break into a construction site, climb a 40-meter high crane, walk to the edge and pee down. Great fun. I wrote scripts to level up skills on RuneScape in the old days, before bot catchers were a thing. I've seen some things in this thread, but this is a step too far. Watched pee when I was under 18. No, seriously though, all of my friends have stories of someone walking in on them pleasuring themselves to some erotic scenes. I've never been found out, ever. My brother and I both worked at a restaurant, he in the kitchen and myself up front. One payday, payroll somehow combined his pay and mine into one check written out to me. We split the check and had corporate send him another correct check, which we also split. I used to sell cigarettes in high school. Came really close to getting caught once, but I had a coat that had holes going into the lining, so I stashed them there before they searched me. I did the same in high school. Thought I was going to get busted one day. Turns out all the teacher wanted was a cigarette. She even gave me 2 back at the end of the day. When the Targets in Canada were closing down, they had maybe 15 people working the whole store on one of the last days. I found 15-20 packs of Pokemon cards still hanging in an aisle in the toy section. Opened up the cardboard packaging of each one, stuffed them in my pockets and walked out after buying a Coke at the register. Ran from the cops twice. I'm 2-0 with the 5-0. Freely downloaded all the music. Took a crap on my high school principal's car. That's just nasty. When I was 5 years old, I stole some gum. Stop right there, criminal scum. My friends and I drove around at 3 AM in my tiny bus 2004 Hyundai Accent hatchback, stealing road signs and construction paraphernalia for several hours. Our apartment looked like a construction zone for a couple days until we got tired of stepping around road hazard signs. A friend and I did that once, 20 years ago. We had this silly plan of making armor from them like we saw someone do at a Renaissance fair. We easily gave up on the idea and dumped the signs. I am assuming this is illegal because of reckless endangerment. In high school, we used to play ship's mast, like from that movie Death Proof. Basically, you would tie a belt to each crap handle in the front of the car, lay on the front windshield, and hold on for dear life as someone drove the vehicle. Yes, I know it was very dumb. I think I outdumb you here. We used to do this thing called cane diving. You would sit on the hood of a car and the driver would drive to the edge of a sugarcane field. Not too fast, maybe 30 kph or so, and just before the edge he would brake hard. You tuck and roll and hope the cane breaks your fall. Yeah, very dumb. Smoked marijuana once. Got halfway through a marijuana cigarette when the Federalists broke down my door, but it was too late. The evidence had been flushed. Dang dude, consider yourself lucky, they sniped me in the face. I wasn't the one breaking the law, but when I was 16, I was sleeping with my 26-year-old boss. Now that I'm 24, that just seems disgusting. Sometimes I get organic produce at the supermarket, then go to the self-checkout line and ring it up as regular produce. If it has to be weighed, it's bananas Blue 4011. I passed out in my car with a plenty of drugs strewn about the car outside of my business establishment. I woke up to 3 cop cars behind me and 1 officer reaching over me to unbuckle my seatbelt. I never even started my car, thank God, but learned a lesson. M is a crap ton of fun, until it really isn't. Amazingly, they just told me to call someone to pick me up and somehow didn't notice the paraphernalia in plain sight in my car door. For the morally inclined, I haven't used it since then, and the event was a big wake-up call to get my crap straight or end up not so lucky. They may have also noticed and cared more about your safety at the time. In the year 2000 I downloaded all of Metallica's albums on Napster and then deleted them since I couldn't care less for their music. I currently work as a fiber optic technician, which requires a hard hat and high-vis vest. I often have them in my car in case I'm called in for an emergency. Recently I have been using the power of the PPE to get in most anywhere I desire. I have climbed multiple cranes after hours and explored many construction sites. No one questions you if you look like you belong. Social engineering at its finest. Look and act like you belong there and no one will question it, and if you ask nice enough, they will probably even give you the keys to get in, or so I've heard. If I had committed some sort of crime, I got away with it by not telling anyone. But none of you people know me. I was on my way to Springfield, the capital of Illinois, to get some guitar strings, and I got a little excited not about the strings, and started whacking it while going down the highway. I DK if that's public indecency or not, but I did it. TLDR. Jacked off whilst driving to get guitar strings. Oh. Had a 16-year-old girlfriend when I had just turned 18. Stole a candy bar in high school once. You piece of crap. I created a series of sock accounts and started a political movement on Reddit. It's pretty scary just how easy that is. I did this thing in Panama with paper but I'm still laying low. I downloaded a car. You wouldn't. Not stop completely at a stop sign. SHHHHHHHH. I work with beverages food. Unfortunately the amount of stuff we throw out is ridiculous. So on Sundays when I close I take as much as I can, usually a garbage bag's worth, and donate it Monday morning to a homeless shelter. Apparently, taking the food home is a fireable offense since it's stealing. Nice try an essay, especially given Reddit's lack of warrant canary. Seriously, it's an odd probable coincidence that Ask Reddit has had a number of doxing and guild admitting threads recently. Just something to keep in mind. L with a cute. Me and my friend were at the balcony of his house. Not a busy street, so we got a slingshot, some marbles, and tried to hit stuff on the street. Balcony was on 3rd floor. All of a sudden, a packed bus drives by. Really packed. So much people standing there it was clearly hard to even walk around inside it. So he grabs the slingshot and shoots. One of the side windows shattered completely. We ran inside and hid under the bed. Last thing I saw before leaving was the window exploding and the bus stopping, with some screams. I didn't take the shot, but I'm very positive someone got really hurt there, comma. This reminds me of some movie where 2 kids did the same thing but with a rifle. When I was 11, I visited my family with my mom in Taiwan. We went shopping and my mom and I were in separate stores and I saw some earrings I really liked. At this point, I was there for 2 weeks and I was annoyed by how much I had to ask my mom to translate for me, so I stole the earrings because I was too embarrassed to ask the salesperson for help and didn't want to bother my mom again with translating. I felt so guilty that when I got back to where I was staying, I threw them out and cried for hours. Erection fraud in China. Erection fraud in China. Welp, this guy stole the Viagra. Put billions of dollars into offshore tax havens. You have been visited by the healthy spirit of exercise. Boy, you will burn all calories today if you comment blessed be the health hound, like and subscribe, you magnificent person.